continue building upon our Webpack configuration. I think we've got off to a really good start with just doing things by default, but now we want to start to add to our dependency graph using other libraries, using our own scripts. So to begin, we're going to start to validate our JavaScript files. By default, Webpack only understands JavaScript and JSON files. Even with that, you'll still need to validate any JavaScript file that plans on using any syntax that's a ES 2015, 2016, and beyond. So what we'll need to use to do that, it's called a loader. And what loaders help to do is process different file types. So if it's JavaScript using certain syntax, CSS files, we have loaders for different file types like PNGs, JPEGs, SVGs, CSVs. There's loaders for all different types of file types. So you'll need a loader to validate these file types to turn them into valid modules. And then they'll be added to our dependency graph. Within every module, there's a rule. And within those rules, there's two required properties. One is a test, and then the other is use. Test, basically, it validates the file type. And then the use property is for any loader that you plan on using to transform this file type. So what we're going to do is we need to validate our JavaScript file types. And first, what we'll need to do is decide what type of loaders we need to validate this JavaScript file type. So with every module that you validate, you also need to set rules to validate each module. And with each rule, there's two properties that are required for every module you plan on validating. Those two properties, one is the test property, and that's just to validate certain file types. And that's usually a regex expression to validate that file type. The second property is a use property, and that's where you'll be setting which loaders you'd like to use to transform that file type. So in the case of our project, what we want to do is we want to add the Babel loader, the preset, which is the Babel core preset, and let's just go through that now, and I'll explain. So the Babel loader is basically telling Webpack, hey, these JavaScript files that I plan on testing against, I want you to transform them using this Babel loader. So if it's any new type of syntax that includes like any arrow functions, any import reserved terms, just anything that's related to ES 2015 and beyond, it's saying, hey, be aware of this. And so I also have the presets that I want to use that are native to Babel, like the core preset. This preset will allow you to use the Babel RC configuration file. This just gives you more control over how you want to configure any JavaScript file that's being transformed by the Babel loader. And then I have the Babel preset env. This will also just make any JavaScript file that's using any 2015 ES 2015 ES6 and beyond syntax to become valid. So if you don't use this preset, what'll happen is that you try to compile everything, and Webpack will say, hey, I can't resolve this file type. You'll need a loader to resolve this file type. So there's that. Then there's also the Babel preset for React. And the reason why I'm adding this is because in this specific video, or in a later video, we're gonna build upon our application just using React, so we can start building in components, and I'll show you how to do that in a later video. So these are the 1, 2, 3, 4 dependencies that we need. One is the Babel loader, so it's just letting Webpack know, hey, with this JavaScript files or JavaScript files that you'll be injecting, I want you to transform these using the Babel, I guess you can say the Babel loader. And then we're using dependencies that are native to Babel. So we have the core, which allows us to use the Babel RC configuration file, the preset env, which allows us to validate anything that's using the ES 2015 and 2016. And then we have the preset for React, since we're going to be building a React application. So once I do that, that'll install. All right. And what I want to do too is I actually want to take this mode out, because we don't necessarily want to set it specific to this configuration. And matter of fact, this is what else I'm gonna do. I'm gonna actually copy this configuration file, and we're just gonna name it let's just say JS. Let's just do JavaScript config .javascript. Oh no, I didn't want to do that. JavaScript. All right. So what we'll do is we'll just do that. And what I want to do is I want to just keep the mode out of my config and have that mode be set as a script. So I don't want any of my configurations being added. And there's other ways of doing this, but in the case of this video, what we're gonna do is we're gonna just set our mode in our script. So I want to just say JS dev, right? Webpack config JavaScript config JS. Oh, and then the mode development. Let's just say we wanted to create one for production. We could just do prod. Production. Boom. You don't like that, but all right. And then let's just make sure that we can still yarn run JS dev. I'm just doing this just to make sure that my script runs properly. All right, so we're still good there. All right, so let's go ahead and begin to add a JavaScript file to our config. So I think too, what we want to do is let me just copy this, and we're gonna call it JavaScript config.js. All right. I just want to separate this file just so we have some separation as to like what we're doing, so we can just have different files that we can just follow along with. So we'll have one that's JavaScript, but they'll build upon each other as we go. So in my JavaScript config file, we want to begin to validate our modules. So the first validation we want to do is for JavaScript files. And within your config file, you'll need to set a module property. And within that module property, there's a rules property. And you're basically saying, okay, for every module, there's rules attached to it. So our first rule will be for our JavaScript. And like I said before, you'll need a test property and you'll need a use property, which it tells Webpack, hey, this is the loader that I plan on using to transform this file type. So we're just gonna write some regex. And then our use property, we're going to add an object, and within that object we'll have we'll have a property that says loader, and then we'll say Babel loader, right? And then within that we'll have an options property with an object, and we'll say presets the first one is the Babel core, the next one is the Babel preset env, and then the last one is the Babel preset React, and we'll just go and put that in there. So just to go back over this, what we're doing is we're adding the test expression here of testing every JavaScript file that comes in within the index.js, and then we're saying we're going to use the Babel loader to transform this file, and so we can validate it into a module. So if we run our script, and what I did was I basically just moved the mode out to set a script for this validation for dev. So we do a yarn run JS dev. Ooh, let's see what we have here. Oh, what did I do? Let's see. Let's go to Webpack. Oh, I could just take it out. All right, it was actually screaming at me because it was like, no. The core is in a preset. All right. So it looks like it went ahead and it validated. But we don't have any files to validate. So what I want to do is as a best practice, I'll just create a JS folder within the source folder. So we do source JS, and then within there we're gonna create a app.js file. All right, and we want to be able to use this file and add it to our dependency graph. So we need to import it. All right. And then within there, we can just do like a console log hello. All right, cool. All right, and then once we run that, what you'll see is that it parses out and then it validates this into a valid module because it takes the console.log, reads it, and then validates it and says, okay, it's good. We can add it to our dependency graph. And then this is the readout here showing that it's been validated and then compiled out to our JavaScript bundle.js. Okay, so we'll stop there for now in validating our JavaScript. We'll talk more about this when we get further along within our application, but for now, this is the setup and it seems to be working. And just make sure you subscribe if you like this video. Talk to you soon.